my crew. We do what we wanna do. This here might not be for you. This what we wanna be. Up in the sand in the sun. Cannons and guns.
Yo ho ho guys, and welcome back to Hyper Thursday. Hyper Thursday. We're gonna be looking at Dr. Schmidt today. Now, I do have two completely different, well not completely, but mostly different equipment sets that I've customized myself. I haven't named them because I'm lazy when it comes to that sort of thing. Now, Dr. Schmidt is a support, so I'm gonna look at the defense side first. This is the set I actually like using more. However, I will also show you guys the damage set for him as well that I've built. Now, before I get into detail about this character, his skills, yada yada yada, and the build, as I always say, or I try to say every time, this is how I build and how I play him. I hope it helps you, but this is in fact, in no way, in fact, the only way to play and or to build Dr. Schmidt. I'm just trying to give you some foundation, and if you can take this foundation and grow from it, that's fantastic, because that's all this is. I will never ever, for any reason, tell anybody, build this way or play this way, or else you're just, you know, a garbage post. Like, no, that's not in me to do that. So check it out. We're gonna start with the custom set 2. Now I'm gonna level him up, and we are gonna get into business. I'm gonna talk about the passive and his ult last when it comes to his skills down here, because I need to go into detail about those two things. I mean, really into detail about those two things. So we're gonna talk about his standard attack first. Like everybody has 3 swings, but his last hit does multiple hits. So it's 1, 2, and the stab. That is his standard attack, 1, 2, and stab. Now his A, he throws a vial. It's called Chemical Toss. He throws a poisonous bottle. The bottle explodes upon hitting an enemy on the ground, doing 120 plus your applicable damage based on your items. Damage within 250 units. Affected enemies become infected for 3 seconds and gain the following effects. They get damage per second over time, attack minus 15, and move speed minus 15%. So they get a huge debuff when they're hit by this thing. Now one thing, before I show it to you, actually I'll show it to you first. This is what it looks like. I want it to be known that it will hit the first thing it comes across. So if you have a minion directly in front of you, like where this jump pad is, and you toss it, it's gonna hit the minion. If the minion's in front of the enemy hyper, right? And the enemy hyper is far back enough for it not to hit them, it'll hit the minion and nothing else. Now it's gonna hit a group of those minions, so it's kind of good for farming or what have you, but it's not gonna hit the hyper if that's what you're aiming for. So remember, it's gonna hit the first thing it comes across, including towers. Now it does not do a damage over time on towers, it just does a set damage once it hits the tower. So don't throw it at a tower expecting it to tick. Alright, so next thing that we're going to look at here is his Q. It's called Nerve Injector. It pierces the enemy in front with a giant syringe, injecting instant nerve poison to do its applicable damage and decrease their move speed by 45% for 3 seconds. When they are infected, this is important, when an infected enemy is afflicted with nerve poison, the following effects activate. Move speed reduction effect is plus 60%, defense minus 15, and they're stunned for 1.2 seconds. So they get a move speed reduction, and they're stunned. So they're already getting the move speed reduction right here. Now they're gonna get another move speed reduction and stun. So when they come out of that, they're just going slow. It's kind of hard for them to get away. Now we're gonna go to his W. He uses the gas mask to release deadly poison that does 152 damage plus your applicable item build to the enemies within 600 units and poisons them for 3 seconds. Dr. Schmidt also restores 5% of his maximum health. Infected enemies take damage every second equal to 1.5% of max health. Deadly poison charges by 20% per hit taken. Understand that. This skill charges by 20% per hit taken. Alright? And the cooldown is 0.5 seconds. It resets deadly poison when out of combat. Max deadly poison is 2. Poison infusion applies the following effects to infected enemies. Damage over time increases to 2.5% of max health, and move speed is decreased by 40%. So if they're infected with this, the damage over time increase, and they're slowed still. So that kind of gives you an idea with that. Now your E creates a poison zone granting the following effects to enemies within 900 units and Dr. Schmidt for 10 seconds. Dr. Schmidt gets max health plus 10%, damage from enemies minus 10%, health restoration effects plus 25%, move speed plus 100, move speed cap plus 150. Enemies in the zone, damage to enemies minus 10%, damage from enemies plus 10%, and health restoration effects minus 25%. So, say you have a healer on the enemy team, right? And they're sitting there trying to drop those hot, fresh heals to a team, help them out a little bit, you know what I'm saying? You run up to them, you get in their mix, and this is why I like building him as a defense tankaroo, because I can get all in here, right? I can get all up in their jam time while they're getting healed up, and I can just be like, blah, no, you're not getting healed up. That's just blah. I'm gonna explode the gas from my mask, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. Also, as you can see, no matter what I have going on here, none of my skills will stop this. It just has to go off its cooldown, so that's important to know. Now that we've kind of got a brief rundown of those, well, before I do that, so remember, this heals off of percent of your max health, right? So it restores 5% of your max health. The best way to use this is in conjunction with this, because this increases your max health by 100, so 2,700 is what I got, right? Now I'm at 2,970, then blam, I'm going to heal for more than what I would be healing for if I didn't have that active. So that's important to note. It's best to use it like in conjunction with each other, but at the same time, you can use your W. I would definitely use it if you're in a clutch situation and you're about to die and you're like, oh no, my God, use it, man, use it. Dr. Schmidt is one of the crazier supports I've played in any game, to be honest, because you just get all in their guts, is what I'm saying. You get all in their business. You find out how their mother's doing, right? You find out how their sister and their cousin's doing, and you poison everybody after you find out. Oh, they're in good health? That's great. Let me poison them. Let me just give them this hot, fresh poison. Kill them a little bit. You'll be fine. They won't. You will. Alright, so like I said, the gene sample is passive. I said I wanted to go into this last. Or later, and there's a good reason for it. The gene sample passive gives you a 75% chance to, let's look at them real quick. Gives you a 75% chance to for a gene sample to drop. What does that mean? All right, I will actually hover over it and show you. So you have 75% chance of a gene sample dropping and lasting for 45 seconds. Only Dr. Schmidt can collect them, and you have max gene samples of 20. Dr. Schmidt gains the following effects every time he collects a gene sample. Gene enhancement use +1. What the crap is gene enhancement use? Well, you stop shaking your head, and I'm gonna zoom out, and we're gonna tell them. Gene enhancement is your ultimate. Your ultimate is really, it's not complicated to use. It is really not. But you have to understand what's going on in your game and understand when to use it and who to use it on. And I mean that like to an obscene degree. So you consume one gene sample to permanently increase one stat. The sample will increase one of the 4 following stacks: attack, defense, vitality, or mana. Your attack +8, your defense +8, your max health +150, your mana +15. It's a max of 5 stacks on each one of those. Alright, so once it hits 5 on that particular stack, there's no point in enhancing it any further, because on whoever you're enhancing it on. In addition to that, you can enhance any one of your allies inclusive of yourself. So what that means is you need, and this is why I said it's not the most complicated or complex, but it's really involved, I guess is the best way to put it. You need to understand what's going on in your match. You need to understand who needs what and how badly they need it, or who not to give it to. So say, for example, you have a carry like Jack, and he's never around, right? Like, dude's just playing cards in the jungle or something. He's talking to the duck in his head. He's just not there when team fights happen. He's just not there. The best thing he's doing is split pushing, I guess. He's just only there to split push a lane and maybe get a turret or 2. Who knows? He's just never there. You're not going to give him the attack sample. You're just not. You're going to want to give that to somebody who's actually doing something in the team fights that y'all need to be there. Like, say you have a Blue Rose in your team too, and she's just going in, but she just doesn't have that. She just doesn't have enough damage to edge out those kills. Drop that attack gene sample on her. Next time she goes in and you're there with her, she's gonna, well, you don't even have to be there with her, but the next time she goes in and she has that attack boost, she's gonna go in there and shred people. Same thing with defense, same thing with vitality, and same thing with mana. If you got someone that's mana hungry on your team, and every time they're about to just drop that beautiful, sexy, like, skill and just get all these clapped on kills, and they run out of mana. Bam, dude, you're right there. You got it. Like, no worries, fam. I got you. Here, pop this gene sample. It's like a sensu bean, sort of, but, you know, not at all. It just increases your mana. There you go. Same thing with defense and vitality. And again, you can put these on yourself. So you feel like your entire team is just doing rubbish, right? Like you're the one carrying at this point. It's all on your shoulders. You can beef yourself up until you hit 5 stacks on everything. Now, the gene sample that you actually get in your gene enhancement is randomized. Alright, so when you kill the person, if it does drop, and also, anyone that dies has a chance of dropping it. It's not just the people you kill. Anyone that dies. Well, anyway. So when it does drop, the actual image on your R, or whatever the key binding is on your controller, will be the color code of whatever the enhancement will be. That being said, you know, you can see the color, and after you get used to doing it, let me see if I can get her to drop one. After you get used to doing it, you will be able to be like, oh, okay, I got it. So this color is this, and then you can quickly do the skill and put it on someone. So when you actually press the button, whatever it is assigned on, you know, your controller, or if you plug in a keyboard and use that, when you press the button, a will pop up, or an art in the case of a keyboard. See, that's a gene sample right there. So I'd walk over it. Now it's red, so it's going to increase my attack when I use it. Now when I press R, this will pops up. After I get used to where everybody's set on it, I just press the associated button. Now, as you can see, my stack is right here. I could do that 4 more times before that stack is just obsolete and I don't need to use it anymore. Now then, let's look at the items. So, I start with some Titan combat boots because I want some move. Of course, I want my move speed and I want some defense. Now, the next thing I actually pump into is either going to be Titan suit or a Highwayman's helm. Typically, for me, it's Highwayman's helm. Now you might be like, man, why Highwayman's helm? If you're familiar with the game, why do that? Because while I'm in lane, my homie, and I'm supporting, if I get low on health while I'm trying to frontline and tank for you, I'ma slap a minion and regain some health right there. You feel? So I put 1 point in that, and I don't look at it for a little while, right? Like, cause this is a good item, but I have better items to actually go into. So basically what this does is the first point you get max health plus 100, which you're already nice, right? You're already nice. That's good. That's good. Then you get health regen and max health, defense health regen, max health, defense and max health, and increases health regen by 40%. Depending on how fast you need to get tanky, I don't normally go for that item first. I get that first part of the item to give myself some sustain while I'm dicking around in lane trying to help people, and then I move around, really depending on how my lane is going or how things are going. The next thing I actually go to is my unique item, my mystery bottle. This enhances chemical toss. Now remember, chemical toss is the one that he throws a chemical and it does damage over time. Really good stuff, and it sets up for that stun on your Q. So first, it gives you defense plus 10 and lifesteal. Hey man, that's fantastic, right? Give me some of that action. The next thing it's gonna do is give you defense plus 10, defense penetration plus 5, and more lifesteal, and a cooldown reduction. Cooldown reduction, please, give me some more of that, alright? Then when it's completed, you're going to get the enhanced chemical toss, defense plus 20, and defense plus penetration plus 5, cooldown reduction plus 5 as well. Give me all of that business, right? You know, just give me your business. I'm here for it. So now that I'm sitting here and I'm just like blam, the damage over time does not heal you. The initial attack does. Your standard attacks do. The Q does. This heals you because it heals you, nothing else. Now your W is going to heal you 2 times. I want you to notice that. It's going to heal from the hit. It's going to heal from the hit because you got lifesteal off your mystery bottle. It's also going to heal from what it's supposed to do. So if I heal like this, just 1 time. Now if I hit somebody with it, it's going to heal me for the hit, the percentage of the damage, and heal for whatever its percentage is to heal for. So that means if you're surrounded, it's going to heal for every person that you hit, plus whatever it's supposed to heal for. It's always good. Now remember, that's just the lifesteal in this. And the next thing, now normally myself, not everybody does this. After I finish out an item, I will finish my boots. Like, I will finish my boots, and then I'll go into the next item. This right here depends on how bad I need defense, and how bad I need health, or how bad I need mana. Typically, I go with Frost Cape. Reason being is because it gives me defense, max health, max mana, and it also does additional 70 damage per second in a 300 unit radius. Basically, I'm just standing around hurting them. And it also decreases the move speed of people around me. So you already know you have slows in your kit. But now you have a slow on an item. So they're slowed by your kit, and now it's decreasing the move speed and doing damage, and you're healing off the damage it does just by walking around. Just by walking at these people. And the way Dr. Schmidt plays, that's what you really want to do. You want to walk at these people. Hell, you want to run at these people. You want to dash at these people. You want to scare the crap out of these people. When people see you coming down lane, they should want to back up. That's how I play, and that's the way I feel the support should be played. However, again, play in the style that you choose that fits you best. But for me, Dr. Schmidt plays as crazy as he is. Like, I come in the lane after I get to a certain point with my item build, or a certain point with my skills and whatnot, or a comfort zone after reading the enemy. Please do that when you're in lane. Read your enemy, see how they play. Are they aggressive? Are they passive? What are they doing? I am all in their business. Like, I'm telling them about their tax deduction in their business, okay? I'm telling them about a new store that they should open in their business, you understand? I'm sitting here doing audits in their business. That's how close, that's how in the nitty gritty I am with that. Now, typically, I will go with Titan Suit next, because it gives me defense, max health, and health regen, plus 50. Now, it also decreases the damage over time that people can do to me, so that helps me keep my sustain, if you understand what I'm saying, for my lifestyle items and for my personal heals. And it also increases all health restoration effects by 15%. And when max health is less than 30%, all restoration effects are increased by an additional 15%. So I would just slam diggery that dog right there. And then blam, now I'm healing for more. It's a beautiful thing. At this point, I would finish out my Highwayman Pound, and last but not least, the Task Force Shield. So I would get my defense, max health, health regen, cooldown reduction, max health regen, cooldown reduction, increases defense in proportion of max health. So if my max health is above 3,500, I get plus 15, which it is. If it's above 4,200, I get plus 30 on defense. Looks like it's at 4,200. So let's look at my stats here. My max health is 4,200, max mana is 160, my attack is 76. It's not that high, but I'm primarily doing damage based off my skills, my stuns, my slows. So I'm not really worried about that. My defense is 240 and my move speed is 640. I am moving fast and I am like a sentinel of despair, death, and just pestilence, basically. And this is with only having one gene enhancement. That enhancement was only on my attack, so I'm not even really worried about that. It wasn't even a defense enhancement. So let's talk about a few things before I go into the next build here real quick. Alright, so essentially what we have here is a constant slow. A constant slow, constant healing, and this is at full build, mind you. Most games you will not get to full build unless you know the game is just drawn out, in which case you really need to understand what's happening in the game. Why is it taking that long? What are your win conditions? What can you do to make sure your team wins? Things of that nature. Either way, once you have a certain set of your build, remember what your things chain into, and remember what synergizes well together in your kit. A to Q gets you additional slow and a stun. Your E debuffs them, grants you more max health, and when you heal your W while your E is active, you're healing for more because you have more max health. So that's pretty much the gist of it with that. Now I'm gonna go into a little bit about the other item build. So guys, we're gonna jump into that real fast. Alright, here we go. Now we're looking at the other item build, guys. Now I'm not going to go over his skill set with you again, because we just did that. There's no point in going over all that all over again, at all. And I'm going to level him up though. So we're going to go with the more aggressive item build. Now the other one's aggressive in the fact that you get in their face and you just kind of sit there. You get in their business, you ask a question. You're just in their business. You're kind of sitting there doing damage over time, kind of slowing them, being a nuisance. This one is aggressive in the fact that you get in their face, you ask about their business while you're shredding their contract because you're done doing business with them already. You're just done. You're just done with it. Get out of here. Just get out of my way. Alright, so I always have the Titan combat boots because the way Dr. Schmidt is, for me as a support, I like to be able to engage. I want to be that hard to engage, even when I'm being more aggressive like attack damage. style. I want to be that hard engage. I want to be the front line, right? Like, I want to get in there. It's like, blah, 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 blah. Scare him with my crazy eyes and my fantabulous hair and my giant bone saw I got going on there. Well, anyway, so Frost Edge is an item that I use for him for a nice little bit of boost of attack and defense. Plus, the mana regen it gives you is also really nice and slim, nice and tasty. Then at the very end of it, the tail end of it, what do you get? You got this hot, fresh barrier. So when I drop below a certain threshold, as you can read right there, when your health is below 20%, it grants like 850 barrier for 5 whole freaking seconds, my friends. 5 whole of those seconds. You got it? 5 of them. That's actually a lot of time in game. You might not think it's a lot of time, doesn't sound like a lot of time, but trust me, in game that is a lot of time. Next item we got here is Reactive Armor. It's defense plus 15, defense plus 15, and it also reflects 10% of damage from enemies. Damage reflection is calculated based on damage before it is reduced by defense. What that means is the damage is calculated based on the damage that would be hitting you before it is reduced by your own personal defense. And that 10% of that is reflected back at them. Now, on stage 4, it reduces damage taken based on defense. 180 or above, damage reduction is 10 and it's fixed. 220 or above, damage reduction is 15 and it is also fixed, meaning it won't get higher or lower. Now that item depends on how badly I need to be in there and like slapping up on him, putting the stank on him. Of course, finish the item, finish my boots. Now of course, we already went over Mystery Bottle, we already know what it does. Lifesteal cooldown reduction, defense penetration. So I need to go into what that does again. It enhances your chemical toss, so we'll say that again. Cooldown reduction and effect duration plus 1.5 seconds. Remove speed, decrease effect plus 15%. Now, Shock Knuckles. Attack, defense, and crit rate, right? So you get that both times on stage 1 and 2, and now on stage 3, increase your attack by 0.25% of your max health, increases your defense by 0.25% of your max health. If max health reaches 4,000, which with this build it won't, or it shouldn't, if I remember correctly. Increases your critical rate by additional 10%. Now you can, in fact, if you have enough enhancements, and they actually fall in vitality, remember that part's randomized, which enhancement it gives you. You can increase your own health till it reaches that point. Now Titan Suit, this was also on the last one. You know, it gives you defense and max health, and health regen, and when max health is less than 30%, all the health restoration effects are restored by an additional 15. So let's see what we got here. Alright, see, so my max health did not go over 4,000, but again, you can keep stacking your health, again up to 5 times with your ultimate. Now my max health this time is 3,116, max mana is 130, my actual attack is 136, and my defense is 268, my move speed is still 640. Now you might be like, that's not much higher attack, and you even had a stack on the last one. But remember, you're also reflecting damage back at them, alright? You're also reflecting damage back at them while you're attacking them, while they're attacking you and while you're in their face. You also have a higher output and damage on that. You have a higher output of damage on this, and heal. You have a higher output of damage on that. You have a higher output of damage on everything that you do at this point. Even though your basic standard attack, you know, isn't like super high in the damage, it's still doing a decent amount. And you can lock people down, just like you did before, and just keep them there. Now you don't have the additional slow from the Frost, the Frost Cloak, you know what I mean? You don't have additional slow from that, but you still have everything else in your kit. So this is a simple aggressive build that I have for him. I'm actually kind of tinkering with this one still a little bit more. That's why I'm not going into super heavy detail. It's just kind of a basic aggressive build I have with him for his attack damage side. Because I refuse to build him straight attack, like just straight damage without any defense. I refuse to do that, just me personally. Again, play him how you feel comfortable. And play him how you feel is right with the build and with your playstyle. But anyway, guys, yo-ho-ho. I hope y'all have a great morning, day, noon, or night. It was actually fun doing this again, so I appreciate y'all asking me to do it again. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Get a good cup of coffee, tea, milk, water, whatever it is you're drinking to make your day a little bit better. Hope to see you later, guys.